Hi, I'm Bill Snodgrass. I am the author of the World of Siliar, and you can explore the World of Siliar on the Siliar website, www.siliar.com, SILIAR.com. You can go there and explore the World of Siliar. In this episode, I'm going to talk about one of the principal characters of the Thriceborn collection. This is a character, Lansal. Now, the origins of Lansal, they go back to when we were playing in the World of Siliar as a role-play game. Lansal was one of the very first characters that was created, along with Edmund and some other characters that appear briefly in the story. But Lansal was the primary character that I had created, and over the years that it became a book instead of a story, a lot of Lansal's life fleshed out. I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that are revealed through probably the first half of the first book. And I'm going to kind of reveal things in the order that the reader sort of finds them out. The first thing the readers are going to find out about Lansal is that he is very able and adept at a lot of different things, dealing with people and observing people and assessing danger and threat. So he is just kind of wired in this very cautious, preventative, observer sort of way. He's an observer of people and of life around him. And I would probably argue that is something that I injected into Lansal from myself. Where Lansal will sit in a room and see things and begin to make inferences, those people are unhappy about something. That person looks very angry and looks like someone I want to avoid. And what's going on over there? That's unusual. I don't really understand what that's about. Lansal is an observer, and when he sees things that look like someone is being victimized, he's going to step in. So that's the second characteristic we learn about Lansal right at the very beginning, probably in the first or second action scene. He was like, I'm not going to stand by and let evil run its course. If I see evil happening or about to happen, I'm going to step in. So that's something that you would learn about Lansal very, very early on. He is not going to let evil run its course. By the 6th or 10th section, you will discover that Lansal is much older than he appears. Lansal is a person who has been through a process in Siliar called mage sleep. It's not just for mages, but mages invented it for themselves, and then they begin to sell the service to other people. Mage sleep is very expensive and something that is really accessible only by people who have means or influence or are somehow in a relationship with someone who can make that available to them. Mage sleep allows the body to regenerate back to a young adult status. And I'll do a whole nother video on mage sleep at some point. But Lansal has been through mage sleep twice, meaning that he is born 3 times. They liken the awakening from mage sleep to a birth. And so the nomenclature is once born, everybody. Twice born means that you've been through mage sleep once. So you were born and then you're twice born. And thrice born, the name of the collection, means that you have been through firstborn, mage sleep, secondborn, mage sleep, thriceborn. So Lansal is in the beginning of the Thriceborn collection, has just started his third life. He's just started his third life. We're going to see quickly that Lansal's first and second lives were dedicated to opposing a group that is called the Dark Council. I'll do another video about the Dark Council as well, so that'll be something that you can look forward to. So Lansal has opposed them, and he has done whatever he could do in order to thwart their efforts in the World of Siliar, which he deems those efforts to be evil because they oppress people and they conscript people into their service. So Lansal has fought those people before. We also find out early on that during his second life, he was friends with a mage whose name is Marlene, and Marlene Brenner being his mentor in the magic arts, and it's a custom to tag that on. So Lansal was a friend of this mage, and so we see that being sort of the connecting point between Lansal and the other principal characters in the first book, the first part of the first book. Here is something that is kind of potentially a spoiler, and this is something that is revealed probably in the middle or the second half of the first book. So if you're still reading the first part of the first book, you may want to exit the video now, because I'm going to talk a little bit about a character trait and where that came from. So one of the things I said that Lansal was a character that had been part of our gaming when we played in the World of Siliar, and I was the one who kind of created Lansal. I found an article in a magazine, and the name of the article was A Spoonful of Sleep. And it intrigued me, and I read, and I only remember a little bit of the article. There was a man, supposedly a real person who lived, who would only sleep for very, very brief moments. According to the article I read, he would hold a spoon and sit in a chair, and he would relax his body, and he would relax his mind, and then at some point the spoon would drop, and when the spoon hit the floor, it would startle him into awakeness. I thought that was pretty awesome, and that's all I remember from the article. I'm sure there was more to it than that. That's all I remember from the article, and I thought, I think that's Lansal. So Lansal has the ability to not sleep his mind. And it's just a rare biological trait that I really didn't go into effort trying to explain why. I just thought it was cool and gave that trait to Lansal, and it's kind of a unique thing that he has. Now this allows him to do things by himself that normally a person would not be able to do, because if they were sleeping, they may become victims of bad intentions, whereas Lansal doesn't sleep. He can remain alert. Now he does have to rest his body a regular amount of time, but even while resting, he can read a book or he can sit and watch what's going on around him as his body rests. So that's kind of a cool thing, and it plays into several scenes, several long things that he does throughout the course of the stories. So Lansal's ability to not sleep is kind of a unique trait. There's some other things that sort of unfold, and I'll not say them in this video because they would probably be spoilers, but his first and second lives unfold and reveal things about him that he is trying to escape and put behind him. And there are things that he did that he wants to not think about. And he calls those things the dark path that he walked at a point in his life. That sort of plays into his relationship that emerges in book 2 with Kaylee, who he's trying to prevent her from becoming lost on what he considers that dark path. That's enough of a preview. He stands for justice. He wants to improve himself, and he has this ability, this sleeping ability. Very loyal to his friends. Will not stand by and let evil run its course. Thanks for watching. Please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, sign up for notifications, leave me a comment, a question, a suggestion. Let me know if you have any questions that you would love for me to talk about on video. Go over to Siliar, sign up, join it, become a member of the site, and you'll have access to some reference material that's kind of interesting. It's not really written to be fiction or to be a story, but it's like details that I refer to as I'm writing. It's like, how much does a pair of boots cost? Or how much power does a mage need in order to do this spell? So it's a set of reference notes that I use in order to keep the writing consistent. That's all for this episode. Again, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.